In this video I'm going to show you how to build slightly more complicated surveys and polls. So if I go into a page that I want to put it on, scroll down to the bottom to find that red edit page button, and I'm going to put my new poll right at the bottom of this page. So I must go to the form bricks because everything I need is in there, and I'm going to go to that form brick that you must put in right at the start. So if I drag and drop that down to the bottom, and let's call it training poll 2, okay. And remember that form brick does nothing apart from put everything in a form so that when you press submit it encapsulates everything within that form. So now we're going to start building it with a few different questions. Now we already know what the radio set does, so we're not going to go over that again, but let's have a look at some of the others then. So if I drop this one in, this one is a text brick. And remember, every time you get to this label stage, this is what your question is. So let's go with something like, what is your favourite colour? Now this text brick allows very short answers. Now you can see you haven't got much space there to write, so you really wouldn't want them to have to write anything really big. So just for short answers, 1-2 word answers for this sort of thing. Now at the minute you can see it's on the right hand side of the page. Now I don't like it over there, I'd prefer it on the left hand side because it makes it easier for people to read. So if I go onto the whole form and double click and go to alignment, I can change that and put that on the left instead. Okay. Right, the second form brick here is the text box, and this is the same sort of thing, but it gives you a much bigger text box to write. So all I'm going to do is I've asked them what their favourite colour is. I'm now going to ask them why, and I'm going to expect them to write a little bit in there. And as you can see, the question comes up, and then so does the text box next to it, and it is much bigger this time, so they can write more. The only thing is I want them to write lots and lots. So I'd like this to be a bigger box so they get the impression that I want them to write more. Now if you want to change anything about one of these, you do need to double click and have a look at your options. Remember, the label is the question. It's not a required question. I don't mind if they haven't answered it, but I do want to change the width of my text box. Now at the minute it says it's 250 pixels. I'd like it double that, so I'm going to put 500. If I press OK and scroll down, you can see that actually now they've got a really big space in which to write. Right, we've got other things on here. The next one along is like a tick box, a check box, the sort of thing that at the bottom of forms you get if you do or do not want to be contacted by email. If I show you what that looks like, if I drop it down, tick if you want more homework. Okay, so it's still my question, and tick if you want more homework, and it's literally just a simple box there that they can either tick it or they don't tick it. If we look at the other options, like I said, we've done the radio set. I wouldn't do the checkbox set. Everything automatically is checked to start with on that, which makes it a little bit confusing for people. But the next one's really useful. The next one's a list, and if I drag and drop that one in, I can show you what it does. Now if you're doing some sort of quality assurance survey where you want people's opinions on things, for instance, is fun. It might be that you just want to put some statements and then have people's opinions on it. So I've put this statement, science is fun, and I've got a drop down list here, but at the minute the drop down list hasn't got anything in it because I need to put in the options. So if I double click on that, everything else is fine apart from this, the option list. I can put strongly agree, I can put agree, and then I could put other options, but as the statement is science is fun, obviously nobody will need any other ones for that one. So if I press OK, then those options are now in my drop down list, so that when somebody comes along and they look at that question, they can just go to that drop down list. Now I could put in a radio set if I want to. In fact, I will just put one in to show you how it goes. Just a straightforward question with a multiple choice answer. no multiple choice there at the minute, so double click. So I'm going to put yes and no as my options here and press OK, and that will give me my yes and no option on there. And then I've just got to add my submit button, so drag and drop the submit button in, and that will mean that people can actually submit their answers. Now I'm going to do a couple of other things just to make it look a little bit tidier. Anytime you do it with a clear background, it can make it a little bit difficult to read the questions. So I'm going to go to the Common tab at the top, and I'm going to go to the box margins and backgrounds and drag and drop a box onto the page. And then if I go to the outside of the form, I can drag and drop the whole form in one go, so I don't have to do it again and again. And that just makes it a lot easier for people to see what they're doing. And the final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to assign this form to me, so that it'll be really easy for me to be able to see the results of this poll in a bit. So if I double click on that, we've already put these things in. I'm not going to put a document on submit. I certainly don't want them emailing me every time that they've done it. I'm only going to let people do it once. I'm going to say thanks for entering. And the last thing I'm going to do is the form owner. And now remember, I'm logged on as the test teacher at the minute, but you just put in your three-letter staff initial and your name should come up. Assign the form to you by clicking on your name and press OK. Publish and exit. And that will save our work. Let's have a look down. I'm going to answer the poll to check it works. I'd love some more homework, so I strongly agree. I've answered all the questions. I'm going to press submit. And if I scroll down, it should just say thanks, because that's what I set it as. And that's it. Now, because before, when I did my quick survey, I've already set up their polls. If I now go into personal, in my ePortfolio and my poll results, I should find now that instead of just having the training poll that I did earlier, the really quick survey, I've also got training poll 2, and all of my answers have come up there, and obviously every other answer that somebody else submits will also be in there. And that's it. That is how to set up a more complicated poll where you can mix and match the different types of form brick to set up your survey in whichever way you want, and how you can see the results.